I'm not entirely happy with what we're doing, you know what I mean?
Thank you, Councillor Cooper, and thank you, Councillor Peter McBride. Actually, it's the first time you've actually said that yes to. It's the first time you said yes to consulting with the Newsman councillors. So that's the step change. So you must have done something there, Councillor Cooper. We've got a question from Cllr Martyn Bolt, virtual question. We won't see him on the screen. We'll just hear him. So what do I need to do? What do I do? Just press the button. Oh, he's there. I thought we can. Oh, we won't see it on the webcast. Yeah, so we can see him, but the webcast can't see him. So we can hear you and see you, Martin, but the outside world can only hear you. Over to you.
Well, I'm sure if they can hear me, we're going 50% of the way there. Thank you, Shabir. We just heard about the. Hang on. Does that mean Peter can't hear me, or is he just pulling faces?
We can all hear you, Martin. Just speak up a little bit, but you're a bit faint.
Well, it'll be hard work for me to shout from Murfield to Huddersfield, but I'll try.
We can hear you now. We can hear you.
Great. God, isn't technology wonderful? It's like a Tony Hancock sketch. We've just heard there about consultation from Peter. Does Cabinet believe that for a consultation to be meaningful and engage with the audience, you should provide evidence so that those you are consulting can clearly understand what they are being asked to give opinions on?
Peter? It depends what the issue is. You pose the question in the most generic of terms. Are you suggesting that what people are being asked to opinions on is not adequate? With reference to what? Because they're constantly being asked their opinions.
Councillor Bolt, you heard the answer. You've got a supplementary?
Because, yes, please. It was generic because it should apply to all consultations. But to give a specific, Peter, once again, you put material out on roadworks at Cooper Bridge. The material that you're asking people's opinions on gives no clarity. You don't supply traffic data to tell people, wait for it, you don't supply traffic data to tell people what their journey times are assessed at currently and what their journey times will be assessed at when you've spent £70-odd million on it. And the reason why that's important is because when the Liberal Democrats brought forward their gyratory in 2004, it was going to take longer to get through Cooper Bridge after they'd spent £15 million. Then we're spending significantly more money here now. So there's no traffic data. There's no air quality data, which should be something which is embedded throughout this council. David Sheard agreed with that when he was leader, that reports should have air quality information. There's no data on the impact on the B6118, Bog Green Lane, Liley Lane and Bellstring Lane. At resolution, there should be, but officers said they didn't know Cabinet had mandated that 3 years ago. So several things on this major scheme are not present, and yet you're asking the public their opinions on them. All they can give opinions on is a pretty drawing on a piece of paper.
Peter, do you want to respond?
Martin's comment. I agree in terms of what the public, what should we say, can rationally, reasonably be informed about and put opinions forward on, I think is not adequate. However, we have always conformed with government guidelines, what we are required to provide, as do all local authorities. You can go on and on and on talking about the procedures which should be in place to address this issue properly. And at some point, there is just a compromise made between, on the one hand, what you can ask the public about and what kind of timescales, what kind of information is necessary to get, in turn, their opinion. And in my view, always, almost inevitably, it's going to be less than would be perfect to inform and involve even the majority of the population, let alone the total population.
Thank you, Councillor Peter McBride. We've got a question from Councillor Alison Munro. Alison, are you there?
Hello. Hello, yes.
Hello.
I'd just like to, hello, can you hear me? I'd just like
We can hear you.
Good. I'd just like to ask a couple of questions relating to agenda item 14 and agenda item 15. Is it okay to ask those questions now, please?
You can ask your questions now, but are you saying you won't be able to answer them later on? You'd rather you want to answer them? You want to ask your questions now? If you want, you can do that.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope you'll be able to answer me now. Okay. Please, can you? First of all, agenda item 14. Please, can you tell me when you're going to review when the blueprint is going to be reviewed?
Listen, just to be clear, are you going to? Is it because you want to go and you, or can't you wait and you want to answer the question? Yeah, I think that'll. Yeah, so we'll. Yeah. So, have you got any other question? So we'll bring that question then. Yeah. I don't want to eat into member question time. You see. So, have you got any other general question, Alison?
Yeah.
No, we'll take that. We'll take that question on agenda item 15. Have you got any other general question you want to ask now, Alison? No. Okay. Have we got any more questions from members? I think we've got a few minutes left.
Yes, please.
Yes, Martin.
Thank you. Should all those Granted Planning Commission comply with the conditions and adhere to the plans which were approved for those planning applications?
Peter?
I would presume so. I'm not sure what your question means, to be honest, man.
Do you want to rephrase your question, Councillor Bolt?
Yes, thank you. Why doesn't Kirklees Council conform to the planning permissions it gets granted? Why doesn't Kirklees Council adhere to planning conditions in terms of updates and monitoring? And why doesn't Kirklees Planning Enforcement take action when these things are pointed out and the evidence given to them? And indeed, it's being given to the ward members for the Dalton area as well.
As far as they do.
So, I don't know if you heard that, no. Martin, but we do.
I'll repeat it. As far as I'm aware, they do. And they're certainly going to enormous pains. You were referring to one specific thing. I do know the office went to enormous pains to give you information on that.
Information is not compliance with planning. They have not conformed with the approved planning documents, as you well know.
It is alleged.
Developers to adhere to planning when Kirklees Council flout their responsibilities.
Councillor Bolt, Peter gave you a very clear answer that we do, and if you want to go into a debate as such, I would suggest we go offline on that, because I don't want to criticise officers unduly, right here, without any evidence. And even then, if there was evidence, it's not the right place to make that criticism. Have you got any other questions, anybody?
Yes, please.
Yes, Martin?
Councillor Bolt, can you unmute your microphone, please? Thank you.
I didn't mute it, so the powers that be, thank you. When we are talking about council policy, shouldn't they be equal, transparent and apply across everything? So that when there is a building in Murfield, which was a council building with a buyback clause on it, Kirklees declined to exercise the buyback clause on the former council officers because staff said there was no clear business plan and approved use in place. How many millions of pounds has this cabinet spent in Huddersfield and Dewsbury with no such publicly available business plans?
Martin, I'll answer that. As you know, the government is very, very clear in terms of their industrial strategy and their regeneration strategy and their employment skills, and the list goes on. And through that, we've got to make sure that we hit the right case to put a business case forward for areas like Murfield, Holmfirth, Batley, Dewsbury, Heckman White, Birstall, Birkinshaw, Cleckheaton, I can go on. And it's only when we actually make sure that we actually join it all together that we'll actually start to address them issues at a locality level. But I'm really, really proud that this council does meet the national criteria which are set by your government, also to make sure that we set the criteria that is set up by LEP, which has been set up by your government, and also the combined authority, which was something that we fully backed, and now the Mayoral Combined Authority has got a strategic framework. We will do everything in our power to continue to work with that. We are already doing that, and as you know, the business case that we are developing for the Penistone line, which is not in Huddersfield and not in Dewsbury, and on a cross-party basis, working together with the government, working together with the MPs, working together with the councillors on a cross-party basis. It does not serve anybody any purpose, Martin, especially you, besides actually flying a flag for 5 minutes to actually come and actually make them points. If you want to work with us effectively, please do so. By being popular doesn't mean to say that you're going to deliver for your residents in Murfield. Far from it, Martin.
Nothing of that related to what was said. It was about business cases for property purchases. That doesn't relate to transport schemes or anything. What you're saying is the government guidance allows you to buy property without a business case, in which case you could have bought back the council offices.
Martin, let me make it very, very clear. This council will not do anything if it's not going to serve the purpose of A, the taxpayer, B, it doesn't stack up, C, if it's ultra vires, and D, right, yeah, if we can't do it because it's against the law. You know, you are insinuating things, Martin, and if you carry on going down the line of questioning, Martin, I will mute you, and that is not a threat, because what it is, right, is we need to actually make sure that we uphold some standards. I don't mind playing politics, but what you're accusing this council of, what you're accusing the members of the council of, including yourself, that we are actually doing backhand deals, which we will never do. So I don't want to carry this debate on. If you want to carry this debate on, I want to mute you. If you've got any more questions that are sensible, I will take them.
Certainly, should transport schemes conform with latest guidance such as LTN 120 on active travel?
Which, Peter, do you want to answer that? LTN?
Yes.
Yep. Yes, they do. Yeah, supplementary, yeah.
Why don't they then?
As far as I'm aware, they do. This is...
They don't.
Martin, this is your last chance. If you don't ask me a proper question, I'm going to mute you. So, have you got any more questions?
No, ladies, can't answer what's asked.
Right.
Please, can you carry on?
Thank you, Martin. Okay.